This screencast is on how to use Google Slides to make a threefold brochure. The reason I like Google Slides over Google Docs is Google Slides is a lot easier. It gives you more flexibility when it comes to embedding objects such as shapes or pictures and text together, more so than Google Docs. So one of the first things you're going to need to do is come up here where it says Untitled Presentation. Always with a Google Doc, the very first thing you should do is name your document so that you make sure that you have it and it's not just an untitled document. The next thing that you are going to need to do is change the size of the slide. Right now it's set at a widescreen monitor layout, but we need to make it match an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So what you're going to do is come up to File, and you're going to come down here to Page Setup. When you do, you're going to change it from widescreen to custom. What custom allows you to do is to lay out exactly how big you want your slide. So we're going to make ours 11 by 8.5 and click OK. So now you have an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. The next thing you're going to want to do is probably get rid of this. So I'm going to change mine to a blank layout by clicking on Layout, choosing Blank, so that I have a blank layout. Now, unfortunately, Google Slides does not have a ruler to help you line up to find your three columns. So a workaround for that is to come up here where it says Table and insert a 3-column by 1-row table. And this is just going to be used as a guideline so we can draw some guidelines on the screen that will make 3 equal size columns. So I'm going to click here, and that's going to make my table. But what I want to do is drag one end out to one side of the slide and drag the other end out to the other end of the slide so that this will give me 3 equal columns. Now what I'm going to do is come up here to the line tool, and I'm going to hold down my Shift key on my keyboard, and what that's going to do is draw a straight line for me. And I'm going to just draw a straight line down. Doesn't matter where we put it right now. These are just going to be guidelines. So I'm going to take one, and I'm going to set it right on top of that line. And then I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut that I really like, which is duplicate. So if I have something and I want to make another one of it, I could right-click and duplicate, but I can use Control-D on my keyboard, and that will make a second line. And then I'm going to just drag this one over here on top of that, just so I have a couple guidelines. Once I'm done with my guidelines, I can come here, and I can click to get rid of, hit backspace and get rid of that table that I inserted. So now I have my 3 equal space columns, and these are just guidelines. You may elect to leave them there because it would be sort of nice to have some little lines in between them. Now remember, these are where it gets folded, so you probably don't want to go right to them if you're keeping 3 separate columns. But remember, you have flexibility. You may have some text that goes all the way across the columns. You may take a picture that goes across all either 2 or 3 or all the columns. I'll demonstrate that in just a second. Once you have your one slide set up, I'm going to use that Control-D, that duplicate again. Told you it's a handy one to remember, because once I have one slide laid out, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control-D, and now I have both my slides laid out for the front and the back of my threefold brochure. So if this is the front, one thing you have to remember is that this panel right here will actually become the opening panel. This is your back panel, and this is the second panel that you would see when it gets folded. And then when this would be the inside where you'd have 3, 4, and 5 as you're looking at the open folds of the brochure. So let's say that just for the inside here, let's say I was going to have something, I'm doing mine on the Colosseum, and I wanted to have something, rather than have all 3 columns, I might elect to do something like this. I might elect to go to my image. I'm going to insert an image, and you can see that I'm looking for Colosseum, and I said, you know what, I like this picture right here. So I'm going to insert this. Really, one of the reasons I like using the search within Google Images is that these are all labeled for commercial use with modification, which means that Creative Commons, they're allowing you to use this, and you don't have to worry about the copyright infringement that you're using somebody's work that's private. So I'm going to click Select. That's going to put this picture in here pretty big. So I'm going to just take this and I'm going to squeeze it up and squeeze it out a little bit. I can line it up. And so, I can go edge to edge like this. So I may end up with a picture like this across the top. And then I could have some interesting stuff below this. Or I may say that I want to take this thing back out to, I don't know if it's regular dimensions here. I might make it come over and I might make it come like this. So it's going to be over a couple of my columns. And I might have interesting facts underneath and a text box right here because I can do my text boxes however I want them. That's what I like better with this. And one thing I like about it too is that I can layer. So now that I have this, I might come and do a text box and draw myself a text box and put Coliseum here. I'll probably make this bigger. So let's make it, let's click on it. So change the text size. Let's change it to 36. Might make that a little bit bigger. 48. Make it bold. I put it on top of the text, on the top of my picture here. That doesn't show up very well, so let's maybe change the text to white. Oh yeah, I like that better. So I might put that there. And then, I might even decide that I want to put a frame around this. So I'll click on the line. I'll make an 8.1. And, probably let's make it a blue frame that goes around it. So you can see you have a lot of different elements that you can do here. You can start to layer objects and put them on top of each other. I could rotate this if I wanted. Just makes it handier to do when you're doing it in a Google slide than if you're doing it in a Google Doc. Gives you that flexibility. Now, I also might recommend that if you're looking for custom graphics, if you can't find anything here, that you use a program like Canva. And I think that you've all used Canva before on another project that we had done. So you could use Canva in order to make your own custom graphics and download those and save them either to Google Drive or save those to your Chromebook, and then you could insert your own custom graphics. When you're done with this, you have a couple options. What you can do is you could download this as a PDF document. And so you might want to download it as a PDF document when you go to print it. Or you could say you could do it as a JPEG or a PNG of each one and print each page independently. So have fun with this. I think that it'll turn out great. If you decide that you don't want these when you're done, these are just guidelines. You can click to get rid of these before you get done with it. And then you'll be able to make a very professional looking 3-fold brochure that you can print out and have as part of your project. If you have any questions, just come to the library and Miss Crystal or myself, we can help you out, or ask Miss Graham to have us come back to your classroom and we can help you out with this. Enjoy.